Welcome to week 6, the 6th and last week of our class. Today we're going to be talking about compassion and self-compassion, and also I've got some information for you on continuing a practice of your own. So that's really kind of the main place to think about how are you going to continue to practice. I'm going to ask in a few minutes to maybe share a little bit of your plan. Hopefully you've begun to fill out that My Mindfulness Plan as a way to be thinking about what are you going to do going forward. But before we go into that, let's start with our pause. And this is one that I think I might have done before, called 3 breaths for a pause. So just taking a seat that's comfortable, and this could actually be done standing up as well, and closing your eyes if you'd like, but also this could be done without closing your eyes, kind of even as you're doing stuff at work. And it's a brief practice, like all these pauses in the beginning. So just take a really nice, full, deep in-breath. And just feel the breath itself as you exhale. And so for the beginning here, just really noticing the breath and using the breath as an anchor to the present moment. Then taking another full deep breath. And this time, tune into your body and just notice how your body is, maybe doing a quick scan and just checking things out, whether it's comfortable or not, or whether there's something calling your attention, perhaps maybe a need, maybe asking yourself, what does my body need? Seeing what arises, just checking that out. And then the third nice, full, deep breath is be kind to yourself. Whatever that means for you, be kind to yourself. What do you really need? Especially we've got the pandemic, we've got the holidays, we've got so much going on. What would be helpful to you? And see what comes up. Maybe in the sense of making an intention for later today or for the holidays or whatever as to how you're going to take care of yourself. And then when you're ready, opening the eyes if you've got them closed, and we'll finish that brief 3 breaths for a pause. And I think that's a good one that you can keep doing going forward. It's really, just the breath itself, the body, what does it need, self-kindness. And of course, self-kindness is a good segue into the part of the focus of today's class of self-compassion. And so often we kind of forget to take care of ourselves, or we put ourselves on the back burner or further down on the list because we're taking care of all the business of life and taking care of other people in our lives. And, we kind of disregard what we need. And so, it's just so important to remember to keep ourselves as a priority, to do some things that help nourish you so that you have the wherewithal, the resources, the internal resources, so that you're not burnt out, to be able to take care of yourself and your family and your work and everything else that you're taking care of. Okay, so let's just open it up for how has the past week been going. I'd like to get a quick read on how's your practice going. Last week we did taking the weight off your mind, and we also introduced the idea of mindful driving and mindful pauses, mindful meetings, and mindful communications. So does anybody have any, either you can use the chat or speak up, but any thoughts about how it's going for you? Hopefully you're finding it a little bit easier or a little bit more of a habit at this point in the game. Not too great, very stressful. Okay. Can you say more about that? Because yeah, I mean, that you know, that's really a good point. It's when life gets more stressful when we really need it, right? And so, but that's also the time when we kind of not forget it, but it's harder to fit in, right? So that is the challenge. When life is really stressful, okay, maybe you don't have time 10, 20 minutes to sit and meditate, but can you do some mindful walking or driving or informal practices, or take a 2-minute pause because it is so stressful? You know what I'm saying? So what can you do when it's, especially when it's stressful? Remember that 3 breaths, the 3-minute breathing space or the stop exercise are both really good in response to a stressor. Also, the rain exercise is another good one for that. All right, good. We've got some feedback coming in. 3 breaths and mindfulness becoming more regular. Good. Meditation takes more work or awareness to set aside a time. Yeah, it really does. I mean, it takes work. It takes that intention. It takes scheduling it, figuring out a way to do it. I meditate every day. Excellent, Sheila. Definitely once, sometimes twice. Very good. So curious, Sheila, too, how if you notice any changes since you're meditating regularly like that. I've been better about being in a routine using my morning break. Good. Excellent. Very, very nice. Yeah, if you can fit it into a regular break, you know, something that you do anyway as part of your routine, that's one good way of doing it. So busy every day with vaccine, holidays coming, family, yet every morning when I get to work, I look out the window and watch the sunrise, and I bring other staff members to see it as well. It's always beautiful. So that's really nice, Connie. And that is a mindful moment. That qualifies. Now, you might try to expand that and make sure you're doing some mindful breathing when you do that, or just paying attention as you're observing the beautiful sunrise, okay? Maybe you're already doing that. Mindfulness helped me this week. Good, good. How so? How did it help? Did it help deal with the stress? Did it help you kind of reset, refocus, or did it help you just focus, period? I mean, remember, part of this is helping us with our ability to come back from distraction, because life is so distracting. And we get distracted through our phones, through our computers, email, work, family, you know, on and on and on. Mindfulness really can help us refocus. Good. Key for you. Very good. Able to accept and deal with challenges much better. Basically, I'm a calmer person. Good. Very glad to hear that. It really can make a difference in our mood, in our ability to stay calm. That whole idea of equanimity, staying calm and balanced, even when things are stressful. So great, glad to hear that. So thank you for that feedback, and also want to hear how your mindfulness plan is going. Did anybody fill that out? Okay, one more here. Found meditating first thing in the morning starts my day off on a good note. Yeah, great way to start the day. And it helps keep my stress at bay for the remainder. So it's almost like a little bit of a, meditation instead of medication to start your day. Great. Glad to hear that too. So what about the mindfulness plan? Anybody get a chance to begin filling that out? And hopefully you have somewhat of a plan, if not on paper, although I think on paper is the best, but if not on paper, at least in your mind, about a daily practice. You know, when are you going to do it? Which ones are you going to do? How are you going to do it? How are you going to find the time? When are you going to do some of the informal practices? And so going to this next one here, it's really the balance of all this stuff that makes for a full practice. Now, again, I think I remember telling you in the beginning, we're trying to set aside striving. So I'm not trying to make this an achievement-oriented thing, but I do think it's important to have a plan, to have some sort of way going forward. And that's why if I do, and I'll schedule a follow-up meeting about a month from now, so in January, and I'll try to do it at the same time, so a Tuesday at noon. And I'll want to hear at that point, how has it been going for you? And again, not as a way of grading or anything. If it hasn't been going well, what do you need to get back on track? But I think if you have a plan now, it'll go a little bit better, and you'll have some things. And it's, even if you find yourself not doing it every day, okay, maybe you're doing it, if you can do it 3 times a week, that's still a regular habit, and that's not bad. It's more about the frequency. In fact, I have a quote about that in a few minutes I'll show you. So any questions about that? Any thoughts about whether having a plan will work for you, or what do you think? Any feedback about the plan itself? All right, well, I hope that means you have a plan and you know it's going to work. I'll be optimistic about that. Because really, that's what this course is all about, is trying to make it somewhat of a routine in your life so that it surfaces on a regular basis kind of naturally. And I know 6 weeks is not a lot of time. So I think it is important for you to keep it going for the next few weeks to really solidify this practice on your own. This is a good point. Some days could be more difficult than others. They certainly are. And so on those days, maybe you don't do your regular thing, but what do you do? Or, okay, so maybe you even don't do it for 2 or 3 or 4 days. That's okay too. Just remember that when you get back to doing it, every new start is a fresh start, and it is a fresh beginning. So that can be important as well. I think just doing the best you can, to try and love yourself at least 3 times a week for 10 to 20 minutes. You really are. This is about self-care and self-compassion. You really are doing this for yourself. That is a good goal. If it doesn't work out for me one day, I just try to do it the next. Great. Excellent. Trying to start with a small step plan, like 4 times a week practice in mindfulness, 3 breaths a few times a day, like prior to meals. Okay, good. Yeah. So tie it to some other activity that you do. Meals, walks, exercise, transition points, getting in the car, whatever. So good. Those are good suggestions. I'll have a few more later on today with from John Kabat-Zinn and there's a couple of handouts that I will send also about cultivating and deepening a regular mindfulness practice. So at this point, let me turn to an important part of today's lesson, and that's something called the loving-kindness practice. And it's certainly, I think, a good time of year to be learning this. And as you read that quote there by Sharon Salzberg, she's one of the leading instructors about what's sometimes called metta practice or loving kindness. And there's a couple of nice quotes there. And there's also a good link. We won't have time to watch that video today, but Shauna Shapiro is a psychologist who's done studies. And she has found in the studies, and these are, controlled with control groups and all that, full research design studies, that mindfulness, in fact, does cultivate compassion. And then she starts to talk about how does that work. And part of the way that that works is, A, it helps us to slow down a bit. B, it helps us to realize that, we're all really in this together. We're all interconnected. And that's what loving kindness helps us do. And I'm going to do a loving kindness meditation with you. And you'll see how that works. Basically, what we do is we use phrases. I'm going to suggest some in the meditation, but you can really use any phrases you like. Don't have to be the ones that I use or the traditional ones. They're phrases like, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be free from suffering, may you have peace, those kinds of messages. And we're going to send those to other people in our lives, and you'll see how that works in the meditation. And that specific meditation has been found in many studies to increase our connection, our sense of connection to other people, and compassion for other people, as well as for ourselves, because you'll see we will also do that for ourselves. So let's do this practice. So bring yourself to a good, comfortable position. We'll start with a little awareness of the body and breathing. So closing the eyes or keeping them slightly open. Just turning inward and checking things out. How are you today in this moment? Noticing your body, perhaps connecting with the feet on the floor, body in the chair, adjusting the posture to be relaxed and comfortable, but also alert. Maybe taking a couple of deep breaths, focusing on the breath itself, allowing things to relax and release as you breathe in and out. And gather yourself to this moment. And just give yourself permission to relax and be here. And just focus on the normal cycle of breathing. And as we go through this, remembering that the breath is an anchor for us and that we can always return to the breath if we ever get distracted or our mind is wandering. And so with this mindful foundation established, bring to mind someone in your life that you care about, someone that easily brings up feelings of goodness and care and compassion and love for you. And it really could be anybody, okay? So it even could be a pet, or it could even be someone you don't know. It could be somebody, like a spiritual figure. Just bringing that person to mind and to heart, and noticing for a moment just kind of that sense of kindness and goodwill and care in the body, in the mind, in the heart. Continuing to breathe as we do that, to stay relaxed and centered. And sending that person these well wishes. May you be safe, happy, and healthy. May you feel care and connection. May you find peace and joy. And so just repeating that to yourself as you keep this person in mind. May you be safe, happy, and healthy. May you feel care and connection. May you find peace and joy. And just allow yourself to rest in those messages and feelings of kindness and goodwill. And now imagine yourself with that person. And you can certainly extend that circle, if you like, to other people close to you, other loved ones. But including yourself in that circle, may we be safe, healthy, and happy. May we feel care and connection. And may we all find peace and joy. And again, just allowing that to be there, to sink in a little bit. And then maybe bring to mind just yourself, just to focusing on yourself. May I be safe, happy, and healthy. May I feel care and connection. May I find peace and joy. And just observing how this feels. Now bring to mind somebody that's somewhat neutral in your life. It might be somebody that you interact with, in your travels. You don't really know them that well. They're somewhat neutral, but you know of them. Maybe you see them picking up groceries or, in a coffee shop or somewhere in your daily life. And just also sending this person who you don't really know that well, but sending them that same message. May you be safe, happy, and healthy. May you be free from suffering. May you feel care and connection. May you find peace and joy. And now bring someone to mind that's kind of difficult for you. Maybe not, not a very, very difficult person in your life, but someone somewhat challenging for you. Bringing them to mind and sending them the same message. May you be safe and happy and healthy. May you find peace and joy. May you feel care and connection. And then if you'd like, we can really extend this to our family and friends and our coworkers, and really extend it outward to people in our whole community, in our cities, in our country, in the whole world, literally to all living beings. May you all be safe and happy and healthy. May you be free from suffering. May you all feel care and connection. May you all find peace and joy. And just for a moment, resting in these messages and feelings of kindness and care and compassion. And if you like, bringing that or making an intention to bring this quality of awareness, these feelings of kindness with you throughout the rest of the day and through the rest of this season. And when you're ready, as we begin to close the meditation, slowly opening your eyes and coming back to our Zoom session. All right, so that was a loving kindness meditation. Again, you can change the words. You can use whatever you like. Traditionally, they often use, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be free from suffering, may you find peace. Those are pretty traditional. But what was that? What was that like? Any feedback? Any thoughts about that? And if you want to chat, put something in the chat or speak up, that's fine. It's different. It's a little different than, focusing on the breath or the body, what we've learned so far. It really includes a very different message, right? Good. Feel totally relaxed. Yeah, it can really bring a very relaxed state, as well as being, that whole idea of, kindness and compassion, just cultivating that. All right, so I want to just introduce the idea of self-compassion now, and that this is where many of us, we find it a little harder. We tend to not be as compassionate, or where our inner critic can sometimes rise up for ourselves, and that's, that can be harder. And yeah, here's a good comment. I like the positive thoughts to someone who is difficult. Yeah, I mean, that's really, it's the idea that we all want to be happy. We all want to be safe and healthy, and we really all want that, no matter who we are. So we're remembering that and bringing that we're all in this together. There's no us versus them. It's the whole attitude of it's about us. It's more of a we message. It made me feel good to send positive vibes to people that don't usually send them my way. Sort of freeing. Good. Very nice. So remembering to do that to ourselves. So that was part of the meditation, to include ourselves in that. So that self-kindness, sometimes maybe we need to be more, include ourselves in that messaging and in taking care of ourselves. So the 3 breaths for a pause, we do that as well. And so I really challenge you to include this as we, think about self-compassion. The second component of it is common humanity, that, it's not this idea that, only the good people, we send good messages only to those that we love, but we really extend that to everyone. And that everyone wants to be, everyone wants happiness, everybody wants health, everybody wants, all those good things, meaning and joy and purpose. But also everyone really suffers. We all go through this. And certainly, if anything, this COVID situation has taught us that we're all going through this globally. The third component is about mindfulness, and that mindfulness really helps us. I sort of see it as the vehicle to be kinder to myself as well as to others. It just reminds me. So mindful practices really gives us the opportunity to slow down and to be more aware of other people's struggles and suffering, and sending them those good messages, as well as then maybe taking some action and doing some things to help out. So there are a couple of videos. You'll have these. Kristin Neff is a psychologist who's one of the pioneers of self-compassion, which is really a relatively new field in the past 15, 20 years that's been studied. And so you can see her description of that. There's a quick 2-minute self-compassion video, and then another nice one from Positive Psychology on that. There's also this one here, which I've referenced Tara Brach before, and this video here, this link, is about happiness. And I want to just kind of bring this up for a moment, that all this practice that you're doing, I mean, it can really be very helpful in our stress, in our day-to-day lives. But what's what's really amazing about it, it really can bring us to a, with practice and with some time, really doing it for a while, it can bring us to a place where we begin to feel happiness or wellness, well-being, or contentment, if you will, for no reason at all. And that's what she talks about in the video, even if you just watch these 4 minutes that I've referenced here. Because often, we feel happy when, as a result of something, when somebody does something nice for us, or we've done something nice for someone else, or there's certainly sensual pleasures, that we have in life, even just food, for example, and connecting with others, and those can all bring us happiness. But the idea that there's this second level of happiness, that happiness for no reason at all, which is really a I think a different level. So I mentioned that as a way, maybe a teaser to maybe perhaps this is what you can look forward to. I recently heard a quote in a movie along these lines: "You don't chase happiness, you find it where you are." Yeah, I mean, really, it's the same as, happiness is an inside job. There's a whole thing about this author, his name is Sean Anker, and he talks about, he's written a book, I can't remember the name of it right at the moment, but he talks about, often we think about that when we get that job or that promotion or that house or that car, or when fill in the blank happens, I will truly be happy. But what they really found out in the studies is that we have it reversed. If we focus on our happiness and well-being and take care of that first, then those things naturally follow. They begin to happen as a result of that. So, so keep that in mind. I mean, that's, that's something we kind of get flipped. All right, so want to give you this second quote by Sharon Salzberg, kind of moving a little bit to the importance of mindful practices. And so often people think, I don't have the right kind of mindfulness or the right level of concentration. Progress is not about levels, even though I was just talking about levels. But progress is not about levels, it's about frequency. If we can remember to be mindful, if we can add more moments of mindfulness, that makes all the difference. So even if you are very stressed and really, really busy, even just finding those moments, okay? Countless times a day we lose mindfulness and become lost in reaction or disconnected from what is happening. But the moment we recognize that we've lost mindfulness, we've already regained it. That recognition is its essence, and we can begin again. So to me, that says it all. I mean, that's, even if you're realizing that you haven't done the meditation or whatever, but then as you go through your daily life and you realize pretty much this cartoon, which I've showed you before, that you're spending more time here, you're lost in this cloud of worry and rumination and autopilot. It's that moment of recognition and that ability to have the choice to let go of that, so that we can come to this place where the dog is, that we can let go of that and just come back to the breath, let go of all that other stuff, come off of autopilot and just be for a moment. That's the place to be. All right, so I do have another meditation for you. I wanted to give you a taste of this one. Sometimes it's called Choiceless Awareness. And this particular meditation link is something that you can listen to, but it's a little bit different again. And so I'll run you through this. I'll try to spend about maybe just 5 minutes on it, and then we'll spend the last few minutes of the class just wrapping up and kind of, going, next steps, okay? So again, find a position that's comfortable and balanced and at ease. closing the eyes or softly open, your choice. Maybe a couple of deep breaths, focusing in on the breath, just knowing that you're seated, knowing that you're breathing in and breathing out. And just for now, as best you can, allow your awareness to be open and receptive as this practice unfolds, moment by moment. And we'll start with just being aware of the breath, as we often do, and just noticing the sensations of this one breath, and then this breath, and using the breath as a anchor or foundation. But you can also use the body, so being aware of the body, maybe noticing the points of contact, feet on the ground, body in the chair. And then also noticing any thoughts or mental activity that arise. And as we allow this open, receptive awareness to be here, when we are noticing thoughts come and go, kind of like we did with the thought meditation, just letting them be there, just letting thoughts and feelings and really anything arise in the moment. So you may be focusing initially on your breath, but then something stronger captures your attention. It could be a body sensation or a thought or a feeling or anything, a sound, something off your to-do list pops into your mind. Just letting all of that be there. So in a sense, putting the welcome mat out for whatever is here. And let whatever is happening happen. And go on happening. Welcoming whatever is. And so you might notice and just observe what captures your attention. And remembering we're not trying to fix anything or do anything about it, just noticing what captures your attention and observing it and letting it naturally come and go. And just noticing the next thing that arises in your awareness. Almost like your mind and this practice is the open blue sky of your awareness. And clouds come and go, and some slowly drift across and some come and go more quickly. But just keeping this receptive, relaxed openness. And you can return to the breath anytime you wish if you feel that would, if you'd like a little stability or steadiness, but you can also just keep this open attitude and awareness for now. This is what is called sometimes choiceless awareness, so that you're not choosing to focus on a particular anchor or breath or whatever. Just without choice, just being aware, kind of a natural state of awareness. And you might even notice an opinion about something, or, liking or disliking or a neutral feeling. You might even notice space between things arising. Even those you can notice and be aware of and let go of, just letting them be. You're sort of saying yes to everything. Letting go of the present moment by surrendering to its content. And so now, just to help ground the awareness, perhaps coming back to awareness of the body or the breath or your posture, and just really sensing that connection. And slowly, when you're ready, as we rise out of the meditation, letting go of that, opening the eyes, and finishing the choiceless awareness. Okay, so that was a little different as well. And there is not a link to this meditation on the meditation page, but you can find this one here when I send the slides out if you want to try that again. But you kind of see how that works. As I said, instead of focusing on a particular anchor, which is sort of the core practice, we really open up to anything in our awareness. And so that's something you might want to try going forward as you continue your practice. I want to point this out. This is suggestions for daily practice from Jon Kabat-Zinn. I will have a handout on this, and also another one called Deepening or Cultivating and Deepening a Practice. So with just a lot of tips about going forward. So, but as you see, just I like the first one, and the second one. Just note what is on your mind if you're no longer in touch with the breath. And without judgment or criticism, just let that be part of your awareness in the moment, like we just did. And feature once again the breath and the body center stage in the field of your awareness. And repeat this a few million times. So keep doing that. I like this one too. It helps to keep in mind that good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant. Remember, we did that a bit in our informal practice, that the present moment is the only time any of us are alive. Therefore, it's the only time to learn, grow, see what's really going on, find some degree of balance, feel and express emotions such as love and appreciation, and do what we need to do to take care of ourselves. And it does take a lot of practice, as he says, but this last one is so important. The real meditation is your life and how you inhabit it moment by moment. So the more you do this, the more you'll see that we kind of bring this mindful practice and all that we're doing into the regular everyday moments that we have. And this last quote, I can't say his name, but he was a Polish pianist and composer. Back in 1919, he was the Poland's prime minister, but also a composer, and this is from him. If I do not practice one day, I notice it. If I do not practice a second day, the orchestra notices it. And if I do not practice the third day, the world notices it. So just to leave you with that, And also just to point out that all the meditations, these are all the links, they go to that page, which has been a little bit reorganized on the website where you find all these. And there are some new ones on there and some different ones, so I encourage you to try those as well. I will still have, there's still a couple of links to readings and videos if you want to try these. And then finally, I want to just say, I am going to send you remember we did the burnout and the stress scales in the beginning. I'm going to send those again and ask you to fill those out again and send them back to me, because I would really love to get the post results so that I can compare the group score, because I put them together as an average to what we did in the beginning. And I think you'll find it interesting also for yourself to see if your post-class score is different than your pre-class score. So I'll send you those as an attachment. I'll send the video, rather the slides out on the attachments later today. And I want to say thank you very, very much for being part of the class. I will schedule a follow-up session, so be looking for that as well. And I'll say, may you be safe and happy and healthy, and may you find true peace and joy through your practice and over these holidays, and especially as we go through the rest of this horrible pandemic that we're in. But I hope you found that some of these practices have been helpful for you as we navigate and try to surf through all that life gives us. So thank you all very, very, very much. And of course, happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. For those of you practicing Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. And I will send those out, and take good care of yourself.